Welcome to 52 Weeks of Flow. This is a Moving River podcast, hosted by multifaceted entrepreneur and transformational coach Bea-Marie. In this podcast, we want to help you discover the concept of flow and show you ways to get into flow and how you can keep your life flowy.
Hello, 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 and welcome to 52 Weeks of Flow, where we talk about all aspects of flow in our lives, how to create it, how to maintain it, and how to access it whenever we want. If you like to support the show and learn more about what we do at Moving River, you can check out our website www.movingriver.com or check out www.superwoman.coach for our Superwoman training and circle. You can also find us on Instagram at moving_river, or you can find us here, right now. How convenient, right? Today's episode is going to be my most personal episode yet, because in today's episode, I will reveal how I completely lost my flow, how I found my way back, and what my biggest learning was from that. So first of all, I would like to tell you what flow means to me personally, besides peak performance or the energy flow in my body. To me, flow means that I'm in alignment with my soul's purpose. Do you remember in one episode I was talking about our life being like a riverbed, and our soul and our soul's purpose is the water of the river, and that when we are in flow, we go with the stream of the river. And when we're out of flow, we are moving against the water, against our soul's current, and everything is hard, and we're pushing and pushing, but nothing actually comes from it. So what flow is to me is, it is easy. I'm going with the current. It feels joyful, and it feels natural to me. When I'm in alignment, I'm aware of my body's needs. I value downtime and recovery time. We know recovery time from sports. After you are injured, you need recovery time. But we do not take recovery time when our soul got hurt. Because we still live in this, I'm fine, push through society. This is how I live my time away from flow. Pushing through against the signals of my body is sending me, against outside signs that I'm lucky to see, but in the past have ignored if they didn't fit the narrative that I was in. I bet you can relate to one of this, right? So, what happened that threw me out of my flow? Everything was going great. My business was picking up after I had my second baby. I started this podcast. I had my first big speaking gigs, and we were planning for a 2-month parental leave, a big European road trip. So what happened? The war in the Ukraine broke out, and I wanted to help. I dropped everything. We collected clothes and food and supported the free clothing stores in our area. We also offered to take in refugees, and a week later, we had 3 wonderful women who fled their country standing in our kitchen. We didn't speak Ukrainian or Russian, and neither of them spoke German or English. But we made it work. We used a talking translation app, which helped so much. Thank you so much to the people coding and creating those kind of apps. They are so valuable. I was so determined to help, so I supported them with everything they needed. They came here with 1 suitcase. I researched what to do and how to help them most of the time. So I took them to the Refugee Help Center, the Social Welfare Office, the free clothing store, and the bank to set up an account. I also helped them find a language school, a place at an elementary school for the child, and also found them an apartment. I was told that all of this was impossible. Yes, this was a full-time job, and I loved helping and supporting them. In these horrible times, it felt like a silver lining that not only helped them, but also helped me feel not so powerless. I fell from one extreme into the next, because a week after we helped them move into their new apartment, we went onto our big European road trip. On the road with 2 kids and a dog for so long was such a new and amazing experience. At some point, we landed in Portugal, and I picked up surfing. Oh boy, surfing was my way back into flow. The water, the waves, and the board were a mirror for my inner imbalance. I got tumbled inside a wave so many times, so hard. One time I was underwater what seemed like forever. Afterwards, I sat at the beach and started crying, looking at the water and feeling into this feeling of losing control. Side note, there is no such thing as control. My experience that day shook me awake. I sat there for a long time and started meditating and connecting to my higher power, which I hadn't done in a long time. I felt warm, and I felt seen, and I felt held in that moment. It was so beautiful and raw. And when I got back in the water, I was pushed underneath the water by a wave again and again and again. And I felt like I was in a big washing machine. But the difference was, it felt so good. I came up and laughed. It felt like I needed the water to cleanse me and to relieve me from the burden of being in control. That day, I got probably tumbled 100 more times, but I also stood on the board and surfed the white water. And in that moment, my flow came back. I was in my peak performance state, and it lasted longer than the surfing lesson did. It felt like a gate of all those feel-good hormones was opened and swept away all the pressure that I had put on myself the last couple of months. Coming back home, we got confronted with a lot of changes. My husband started a new job, my oldest started elementary school, and my youngest started daycare. Where I live, starting daycare is like a 3 to 4 week process. You ease the kids into the new atmosphere, getting to know the room, the teachers, the other kids, and so on. I was holding space for all of them. I also revived my Superwoman Circle, a woman's circle that I held monthly before the pandemic. And I created the Superwoman Symposium, an online summit where 30 speakers and I dove into the topics of body, mind, business, and flow. It was a great success. I'm not telling you this to show off. I'm telling you this because I know that sometimes we feel like we have to juggle all those glass balls and keep them in the air, and we cannot drop them. And we have to put on more hats than our head can actually hold. I want to let you in on my biggest learning, because this was only possible because at some point I surrendered. I let go of the need to control everything. I let go of the outcome. I became still, and I listened for my inner guidance, and I became completely present in the here and now. I know that sounds like something that is so easy, but for me, it was the hardest thing to do. I know we all have hard times, but I hope this story inspires you to breathe, to release, and to surrender. In the next episode, I will have another wonderful guest, and we will also talk about finding your flow again. And that's it. That's it for today. That's our show. Thank you for tuning in and reconnecting to 52 Weeks of Flow. Thank you for all your support. Thank you. I am truly blessed. If you have any questions or suggestions, please feel free to reach out either through Instagram via moving_river or via email bea@superwoman.coach. If you liked what you heard, Then come back next week when I talk to the wonderful Mike Dooling. We will reveal something magical during next week's episode. Subscribe, rate us with 5 stars, and on Instagram, write us a cool review. And just so you know, I'm grateful for you. And remember, stay flowy, my friend.